To the World Cup, FIFA is yet to make a finding on the allegations Uruguay's Luis Suarez bit Italy's Giorgio Chiellini on the shoulder during the match between the two countries. But the consequences, should it be true, are already becoming clear, with Suarez's sponsors indicating they are not happy with him. So too are most people we've spoken to here in London. This is what they had to say.
It's obviously not really acceptable in sport, to be honest. I think biting is probably one of the worst things you can do, but you know, sometimes you do lose your cool on the pitch, I guess. So
yeah, I just don't like the way he's sort of gone about apologising. You know what I mean? It's not very sportsmanship. It's not good.
I think it's ridiculous. So I think it's the third time he's done it now, so he should be getting a lengthy ban.
It was disgraceful, and that he should have an animal muzzle fitted to his face every match, or a permanent ban from the game.
Suarez, it's crazy for me because it's not football, you know.
Doesn't fair play.
Yes, it's not fair play. I don't know if he's kidding himself in his own mind, whether he truly doesn't think he's done anything wrong, or it's just in denial. But yeah, I mean, I think there needs to be an example made of him, certainly, if it's the third time it's happened.
I think it's unbelievable for the World Cup like this, in this stage of the level, to do things like that. He did 2 years ago or 1 year ago in Liverpool, but he doesn't need to do that, actually. For me, it's ridiculous.
You've got to look at the danger to other players or other people, you know, and I've never seen anything like it before. Perhaps there was a certain boxer that had a similar trait in one occasion, but I'd say he just needs to seek some professional help.
There we go. That's what some Londoners thought an hour or so ago. With me is James Beale. He's a lecturer in sports psychology at the University of East London. OK, sports psychology. What on earth was he thinking?
Who knows? Who knows? It was a very inappropriate way to act in the circumstances.
Why do you think he did that?
I think when we look at athletes, they normally have a zone of functioning, so like an emotional dynamic where they perform well. So we can think of some athletes that need to be calm, say like Roger Federer, for example, who's not aggressive. Then we can think of other athletes like Luis Suarez, who need to be very, very aggressive to get the most out of themselves. But sometimes that aggression, especially when you add into the mix frustration, can spill over slightly. And I think that's what happens here. But the interesting thing here is not so much the fact that he was aggressive, it's more the way that he was aggressive and how unpalatable that is to everybody around, basically. So, yeah.
And also, if we look at this situation in isolation, you know, he wasn't even being provoked, if you like. And also his response after this alleged biting incident, he feigned an attack himself, if you like, and went down straight on the pitch. I mean, what is your thinking about that reaction? That's quite manipulative, almost.
That's one of the things I can't really explain, is I thought to myself, if that happened after the player had tackled him, after the player had done something malicious to try and stop him gaining an advantage, then it would have been more understandable, but that didn't actually happen, did it? So it's very difficult to explain why that happened. I think, you know, the rolling around on the floor afterwards was equally bad, but I thought it was quite amusing, actually.
Is that because he knew he did something wrong, do you think?
I think he was trying to trick the referee, would be my guess on that one, yeah. Yeah.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think, interestingly, I think after the match, you have to look at the reaction of him and those around him. So he came out and he hasn't really acknowledged whether or not he done the bite or what happened. All he said is, we're making too much of things. And I think that if you look at his captain actually came out and criticised the Italian player that was bitten. And I think when you have people around you like that and you're taking a take of, it was nothing to, you know, it's just the way that things are, and then the people around you are saying, don't worry, it's just the way things are, I think it's very difficult to try and change that person, because they don't acknowledge that there's a negativity about their behaviour. OK,
so we're waiting for FIFA to make a ruling on this,
yeah.
You know, what they're going to do with him. If I went out into the office and bit somebody on the shoulder, I'd probably get fired, or be done for gross misconduct. I'm sure you would in your work arena as well.
Absolutely.
So whatever FIFA does, I mean, this isn't the first time he's done this. I've got a list here, you know, 1, 2, 3 incidents almost, yeah, of
three incidents that we know about as well.
That we know about, OK. Yeah. So he may even do this, you know, when he's out just on an evening out, perhaps.
As a youth player, yeah.
But whatever FIFA does it really matter to him?
I think a footballer's career is very short. And so if you take out a considerable period of that time, it's definitely going to have an impact on him. It's going to have an impact on him in terms of his earning potential. It's going to have an impact on clubs that he might move to. So I think it will have a huge impact on him.
So psychologically, he should be given a real hard punishment here?
I think you need to look at the people that his role models for. I mean, those 2 goals that he scored against England were phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So younger players, young people, not even necessarily young people, older people perhaps are looking at him as a fantastic player. And I think with that genius comes responsibility. And I think when the responsibility, your behaviour is that you go away and you act in a way where you bite somebody, then I think you need to take that into consideration. The number of people that are watching him and perhaps mimicking his behaviours.
Interesting to think that he needs to do that to get the most out of himself. It's been fascinating talking to you, James. Thank you very much for that. James Beale there. Do stay with us here on BBC World News. Still to come.